playing, practicing, traveling, sports, hoeing. So, no.
I'm glad no.
But things that happen off camera that may or may not have been known to the world. You know, there's things that you would think never would happen, happened. You know what I mean?
Welcome back to the ManTFupUp Podcast. I am KimmyB.
And Lenny.
And we've got a very special guest with us today, David Benavidez. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right, look at that.
One of the few. One of the few.
For me, a.k.a. Temptation Island. David, you learned by sheer stupidity on my part that we call you Temptation Island. And you learned that because when I was confirming you coming on the ManTFupUp Podcast, I accidentally text you thinking I was texting Lenny. And my text was, so Temptation Island confirmed. And I couldn't understand why he hadn't replied back to me until he hit me up. And I'm like, what are you asking me this question for? And I was like, oh my God, I sent that to Dave. And so I was like, good. Let me reply back. Those were not for you. And yeah, so LOL, you know, like I'm the queen of the LOL.
That's my middle name.
Were you offended by that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because that was how you were introduced to me, and that's also how I believe the contact was given to Lenny.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was like David, Temptation Island.
That's, yeah.
Benavidez.
That's my third and fourth and fifth name now.
Got you.
First, middle, last, and then
Temptation Island. How do you feel about that?
It depends, right? I feel like it depends in the context in which someone's addressing me.
Okay.
Especially like the tone and the sentence it's used in. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Got you.
Because, look, the show, me plus the show has negative connotations. But if you know how reality TV kind of works, for lack of a better term, then maybe it's not so negative, you know? So I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, is it up there on your resume? Like as list of things you've accomplished in your life, like how high does season 2 of Temptation Island rank on there?
I think it depends on what part of the show you're talking about, because there are very, in my opinion, and again, you only see what you see, right? And I experienced it. There's some really good things that came from the show, like while I was on it, really highs, and then there was some really fucking lows. And you probably saw some. Well, I don't know what you said you're on.
I'm like 7. I'm on episode 7. So when we knew that David was,
I watched the 5 minutes where he had the thing with the 2 bitches. And
yeah, well, he watched the highlight clips on YouTube. You know what I mean? And he was like,
those are dangerous. Those are dangerous.
I like that's
dangerous.
pretty much all I saw. Was that?
That was all you needed to see.
That was it.
He was like, oh yeah, he can
swing. He's good.
He can for sure be a guest on ManTFupUp for sure. All right.
Oh man.
So we'll get into your time on Temptation Island and some other things, but we like to start, every episode basically just by asking, when you see ManTFupUp, what comes to mind? Like, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. First of all, I don't like when shit is, what's the word I'm looking for? When people try to be politically correct, when people hate when other people cuss. To be honest with you, from my perspective, I've cussed for a very long time. I don't see a problem with it. Just because you cuss doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean you're
Thank
not
God.
religious, all this type of stuff, you know?
Because I swear a lot.
No, thank fucking God.
Seriously. Because people think that, someone cusses, they're illiterate or they're not intelligent or all this type of bullshit. And it's like, no. It's just the way people like to communicate. And it really, in my opinion, when you say fuck, that really just means like you're passionate about something.
It's an extra
And this, man, the fuck up means you're passionate about people. Just get your shit together, dude. Especially nowadays, right? With COVID, the way things are governed, like all this stuff, figure it out, and just worry about what you can worry about, which is yourself and your own situation. And don't worry about all that bullshit. To me, that's what man the fuck up means.
That was a pretty good go at it. I like it.
You know, it's funny when I hear other people describe what ManTFupUp means to them. I'm always thinking how you're gonna feel about their description, because this is like your baby, and I know I know you so well at this point that I'm always like, oh, he's gonna love that. Like when you said politically correct, I was like, oh, Lenny's here for it.
It's amazing. We started this podcast to find people like you, because I know that I couldn't be the only one who thinks this. I can't be, but you'll never see that on social media. You'll see some fucking wacko over here, some wacko over here, and you never see the people who are like, I don't care if you say man the fuck up. Now, back to your point of swearing. You're not going to an event with, dressed up with your wife or whatever and busting out, hey, can I get a fucking drink over here? That's, what I'm saying? Swearing is appropriate where it's appropriate.
100%.
So it's understanding that is a big part of it. And the political correctness, fuck that.
Fuck that.
And you have to say it especially if you say it with a fuck that instead of just a fuck that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't it, the late great Bernie Mac, he did an entire bit on motherfuck. Remember, like on the word fuck and all the different ways you could say it and the different connotation behind the different ways of saying it. And it was like, God, it really is just, it's good. And there's sometimes, like when you're talking about if it's hot outside, like it's fucking hot.
Listen,
there's a difference between hot and fucking hot.
You can meet some really intelligent people that will belittle you using normal everyday words just with their tone, and it's like you're shell shocked.
Yep.
You could have just cut that in half and just said you're a fucking piece of shit. But no, they want to list out a paragraph full of shit that drives you down like a hammer. So, it's how the words are presented is really what it is. So, man the fuck up.
There you go. Now, speaking of that, is there a time in your life where you can think, like, I think everybody can think of one of these, that you had to man the fuck up? I can think of a couple right off rip after having watched part of season 2 of Temptation Island. But again, this isn't about my perception of you. When have you had to man the fuck up?
I think it was when I first moved out of the house, right? When I was 17 years old and I said, hey, look, I want to do my own thing. I want to make a life for myself. I had aspirations of playing professional soccer.
Okay.
I got a Division I soccer scholarship. Parents never paid a penny for school. Rider University.
Okay.
In New Jersey.
Yeah.
And so I think when I made that leap of, okay, am I going to play it safe? Am I going to maybe, do the whole, I'm going to go to a college close to home, all that, not chase my dreams, all that shit. That wasn't for me. And it's for some people, right? But for me, that was a time where I was like, all right, it's time to put on the big boy pants, go off on your own. And, I've been living on my own. Parents haven't given me $1, never asked for $1, don't want $1. And that's going on, 12, 13 years now.
Okay. I was going to say, so to answer your question, he was a soccer player, played D1. No, that was not his first threesome. That's just using context clues. I figure I would just get that one.
Listen, soccer play. So my school didn't have a football team, which made it even more so.
Okay.
Of a dangerous.
That works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a theory about soccer players, but it's.
Well, let's hear it.
I have to.
Soccer players are hoes on both sides, the guys and the girls. Like my homeboy Al, who I worked with at the radio station, huge soccer guy, Columbia, loves playing, played for like not the Red Bull, not the New York Red Bulls, but like
all guys are hoes.
Well, I know that. No. To my point, they are. But to my point, one day I was like, Al, I can see you.
So are all girls.
I was like, no, they're not. Speak for the women that you know and not for me.
Okay.
But anyway.
Call it what you want.
Well, actually, yes. You know what? I'll take that back. I'll redirect. We can all be hoes for the people we choose to be hoes for. Every woman has a little hoe in her. It's just a matter of how often that comes out and who it comes out for.
Some women have big hoes in them.
Hose? Like
maybe
H-O-S-E?
Maybe.
Or H-O-E-S. Okay, back to my conversation about Al. So one day I told him, I was like, I can see you with a soccer player. And like 5 seconds later, I was like, soccer players are hoes. And he just fell out. He's like, so what are you saying? I need to be with... And I was like, that came out wrong. But like, it was the truth though. So y'all get it in. But I say that because a lot of women who play sports at an elite level, they're around guys all the time. So they have, some masculine energy to them, and a lot of them will fuck just like dudes will. Like that's
true.
Just how they get it in.
It's true. I think soccer. If I had to rank in terms of the
hoish ways,
yes.
Okay.
Of all the sports, I would say soccer is right up there with. I think it's ahead of football.
Motorcycle motocross.
That's a sleeper right there.
That is
No,
listen.
that is a sleeper.
that
so
is
is
the
golf, and so is golf.
that
so is
that and soccer are the two most physically demanding sports there are.
Motocross and soccer?
Motorcycle, motocross, and soccer, two physically most demanding sports.
Soccer, I would imagine, but motorcycle. Why motorcycle motocross? Is it just the core work of like? Is it all of this?
We talked about the McLaren hurting my ass driving
Oh,
in
yeah.
my back.
So explain to me because I don't follow
Ride
that.
a dirt bike for
Okay.
5 minutes.
So when you say motorcycle, so I'm thinking like Ducati racing, like on a track.
No.
That's not. You're talking about
Motorcycle,
the jumping.
motocross,
Okay,
yeah.
so like Carrie Hart, Pink's husband.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that is it. It's
Whew.
it's proven. It's the soccer and that are the two most physically demanding sports.
I don't understand how you guys can be you would think you would have nothing left to hoe with. Like if it's so physically demanding.
Well, here-
Nestor's getting mad because he's a baseball guy and he's like,
No, but
get
he's
it
deep
in
down. He's
two.
deep down a soccer guy too.
Everybody is. Everybody.
He's from Venezuela, so
That's the thing. People, and it's growing in the States. People don't
Yes,
realize
it is.
how popular soccer or football is
Football.
in the world.
yeah.
It's
I
the
played
most popular
soccer.
sport.
Well, it's like Formula One. It's like
it.
Ask fucking a Dale Earnhardt fan what Formula One is. They're like, It's the biggest
It is.
racing motorsport in the
Well,
world.
not even like NASCAR and this. I mean,
Same thing with
not
soccer.
When you see like battalion, people don't understand those tracks hold 200,000 people. Like Indianapolis or Daytona, massive.
Yeah.
Massive. Formula One, insanity.
Yeah.
Like, and soccer is definitely that. I grew up in the Northeast too. I'm from Massachusetts, and we were state champs in football, but we had a better turnout for our soccer game.
Soccer.
Ole, a bunch of Portuguese running around. And I can
100%.
say that because I'm that. Portuguese people.
Was there more
Brazilian.
people there because they were hoes?
Probably that too. But not everybody. Everybody loved that. Everybody loved that sport, and it is good to see that it's picking up. It's big down here too.
It's been down here. I played soccer when I was a kid,
Okay.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, it was, but there was never, Florida's a strange place because we never really had anything but the Dolphins. We didn't really have any of that stuff. We never had, we had local races when I was a little kid in cars, but we never had a track. We never had,
Homestead. When did Homestead open?
20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it would just been around.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't. And Silver Lakes in Pembroke Pines, that was a drag racing track that was there, the Hollywood Sportatorium. But we didn't have that kind of organized thing down here. It's a very, very unique place to grow up. Whereas I would go visit my cousins in, Illinois, outside of Chicago, and like the whole fucking family's on a baseball team. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck are you guys? And little kids, I got to play one summer. Wow, that's pretty cool.
But the irony of the fact is now Florida has become one of the nation's largest hubs for talent.
Yeah, when did the Heat start? 89,
Football, baseball.
90? We didn't have a basketball team. We didn't have, I think we had a baseball team early on in maybe the 60s, and that went away.
Okay. But they always had spring training here.
Oh, yeah.
When you think
Well,
about it, spring training's been
everybody
in Florida
comes here.
for decades.
Everybody comes to Florida.
Well, like I said, now we're, a massive hub. So give me an example of a time in your soccer career that you had to like man the fuck up. Because I think sports is a great place for having to, flex a little bit, be a leader, whatever.
A lot of times. So I was a captain all 4 years.
Okay, flexi pants.
Which people think, oh, that's so cool. There's a lot of shit that comes with that, right? You got to hold yourself accountable. You can't ask somebody to do something you're not going to do yourself. And you just got to be a leader. And it goes back to the man the fuck up thing. You want to be first, and you can't be the last person in sprints, right? You got to be the first one at practice, last one to leave. You just have to hold yourself differently than someone else. But I would just say being a Division I athlete is really, really hard. The mix between playing, practicing, traveling, sports, hoeing. So, no.
I'm glad no,
No, I was going to put it in if you didn't. I
That's
was
a
gonna
part
put
of it. Don't you try to take it out now.
Oh, listen. And I look back now and I'm like, okay, so I would have games Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, probably, right? We partied after every single game, and I was still good to go, So it's crazy.
I have a
You were 18.
The liver now is...
now imagine if he had a little bottle of ManTFUp. It would have been like next level at that point.
Yeah,
But
might have a different career right now.
I was going to say, because there's a rule, like I when I went to the University of Miami and my roommates in college were football players, and a lot of my boys had strict rules regarding hoeing and game day. So come Thursday night, because in college sports, football usually play on Saturday, there was no more funny business. There was no more fucking. You didn't, not Thursday, not Friday, Saturday after the game, and most of the time you were so.
How'd that work out for them?
Trust me, they did just fine Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and earlier before, they had to do whatever else on Thursday. But how do you do that as a soccer player? Like, you clearly can't have the same rule because y'all play multiple games in a week.
I mean, for me, I was never one that, look, the way I live my life is I don't hold back on anything.
Mm-hmm.
I may be more chill or quiet, but when it comes to if I have the opportunity to go out, if I have the opportunity to party, I'm gonna go do it. You know? And that goes back to when I was younger and when I was in college. And I never was like, I got a game on Thursday, Wednesday night, I don't want to go out. I'm not gonna live my life and just be like, I don't know if I want to do this or that. I'm just gonna go do it. So for me, I never held back at all. And I would always go out, do my stuff at night, and then I would be good to go for the game. To be honest with you, some of the best games I ever played, and I hope my coach doesn't. Some of the best games I ever played, I was severely hungover, to the point where I don't know how I didn't cramp up more,
I mean, I think a lot of it has to go to discipline, and I think especially football, they're bringing these guys to levels of like they're bringing them to the breaking point so that, if you bust a nut a half hour before the game, you might not, you're losing that you're not at that peak, so I think soccer and other sports, I mean, look at.
Is that true? I'm sorry to spit out. Is that true though? Like, does sex affect your legs as a man, as an athlete?
I mean,
is there truth to this?
It's a dopamine rush to your brain.
Okay.
It's like, there's things that get released. There's a reason sex feels so fucking good. Okay? It's not like, it is what it is. But, I think it goes to the discipline of the players. And I think it goes to the athleticism that they're pushing these people to. They're taking them to such high peaks that, something like that could disrupt them. Whereas a soccer player, you guys run.
Your level of conditioning.
Yeah, your level of conditioning is like a boxer, above a boxer.
Level.
So, there's differences.
So basically that was a challenge to all the American football with 2-0 players out there. Man the fuck up. Get your conditioning game on point. Then you won't have to worry about it.
There's no commercial breaks in soccer. There's no pauses during the game.
No real sub either.
Right?
Like,
you're
once you're
running,
in, unless you're
running, you got to have stamina, which helps you out with other stuff.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that he's flexing. He's like, you got to have stamina.
If you catch my drift.
You just got to have it. This is like an official.
People don't need to see it. They can hear it.
This is not facts. Now, you said something before, and of course, it just was like, yeah, true. You were like, if I have the opportunity to do something, I'm going to do it, including taking my girlfriend of 3 years to an island.
And so they begin.
And then literally.
Don't say they.
Being tempted.
So she begins.
Yes. And then being tempted. I'm going to tempt myself with 12 single women and see if I can be why? Because that was your idea. According to what I saw on the show, on Temptation Island Season 2, it was your idea to go. Did you just want to challenge? Like, I don't understand.
So let me preface this by saying reality TV is only what you see. And you're licking the lips over there like you're ready to. So seriously, here's the thing. You only see what makes the most sense in terms of providing shock value, providing entertainment, all that bullshit, right? We had long talks about the show. To be honest with you, looking back on it, I mean, look, I went on the show when I was 27, 27, right? My girlfriend was much older at that time. So you would think in hindsight, and I'm not putting blame on anybody, but you would think in hindsight, like, maybe she would probably push back on it more, right? Long story short, we went on the show. Went on the show. Now, was that a good idea? It kind of goes back to the question you asked me in the beginning, was like, is there highs? And that was definitely probably the lower part of actually going on there. But I think once we went on there were certainly highs and lows, but I think overall, I think everybody was better off at the end of the day. So that would maybe been a really confusing answer, but I'm happy that I went on the show.
Yeah.
Now, am I happy with everything that happened on the show? Fuck no, because now like we said before, David Temptation Island, depending on who you talk to, from like a male's perspective, I have guys that come up to me thinking like it's totally different,
Dabs
right?
up.
And then I have females who stop me in the airport and tell me I'm a piece of shit and like all this stuff, right? So,
And then they drag you to the bathroom.
and then they drag me to the bathroom. So it's like, overall speaking, I think my life is better. I hope my ex's life is better. We haven't talked in a little while, or quite a while actually, like a year and a half, whatever. So I genuinely like to think overall it was a good thing for our relationship. As fucking weird as that might sound. You know what I mean?
It's you know,
Seriously,
those
it's weird. It's a weird situation.
if you have a real relationship for a couple years and you know that's the person you're going to be with, and she knew that was something like that wouldn't even faze you.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So clearly there was a disconnect already there on some level.
The thing people don't realize is when you film a show like that, there's no outside world. And people are like, you went to Hawaii, you were there for a month and 6 weeks. Oh, it must be so great. I came back with less of a tan than when I went there because that's how much like you're filming shit. You're inside. You're not just, people think, you're just laying out in the sun. No, dude. No. I'm in like 3 hours of interviews every day, right? With sun, like out in the heat, right? With lights and all this shit. And then I'm inside a house filming, you know? So I say that because it's sort of like a glorified, I don't want to say the word jail because that sounds bad, but it's a mind fuck. It can mess with your psyche a little bit because all you have is the people that you're filming with and the producers.
Yeah.
You know? And you don't even listen to music. That was one of the best things. When I got my phone back and I opened up Apple Music, I'm an Apple Music guy. If someone likes Spotify, you're a serial killer. But I have Apple Music and I opened it. That was like the best thing ever to listen to music again.
Why would they take away your music?
Well, copyrights and stuff.
They don't.
Like filming wise.
Yeah.
And then I never had you don't have access to phone. You don't have access to TV. You don't have access to the outside world for 6 weeks.
So,
No, we're just going to put you in this house and dangle bitches in front of you.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to give you all the alcohol you could ever dream of. And we're going to put you in some very interesting positions to see what might happen based on what we tell certain people to do and blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, because, I think that we've all learned that. I mean, reality TV's been around long enough, although I'm sure there's some folks out there who still think
We all learned?
We obviously didn't.
Jesus, 99% of the fucking country watches
though?
it.
No,
It's like they live by it.
No, but what I'm saying is,
They got their
it
Big
still-
Mac, their
it still
fucking
blows
fries,
my
and they're
mind
like,
that some of them think that it's real and like that
Yes.
the producers don't have a ridiculously heavy hand in narrating, how everything plays out. Like that, it's mind-blowing to me because I watch it.
ManTFUp TV. That's why we're here.
Well, and even watching it. So, like, I told David when he walked in, I was like, my mom has some words for you. 'Cause, like, I've been doing research for this interview, and part of that was watching his season of Temptation Island. And I was like, it can't be
With your mom.
With my mom. My mom is my ace. She lives with me.
I would love to be a fly on the wall while you're watching that.
No, I'm going to start recording myself because I get fully vested and I yell and I scream. Like, and I got to tell you, like, as fucked up as a lot of the stuff that the guys did was, I'm more mad at the girls. Like, I'm so annoyed with so many of them and the way, because it's just like, you knew what you were
talking about the
going
single
into.
girls.
Yeah, like just, the single girls. And even the other one, what was her name? Ashley, the dark-haired one.
Yes.
Dude, the water, they wouldn't even press play and she'd already be crying. I'm like, girl, have you heard about manifestation? Like, relax. Like, everything you're stressing about, you're going. And she ended up cheating on her dude first. But again, the producers, like, you'd be watching something and I'd see the clip and just being in this business, I'd be like, oh, that's so foul. Like, because the clip that they would show didn't, like, so for Ashley, for example, they showed her boyfriend in a hot tub talking to two other girls, basically saying, if she left me tomorrow, I'd be good. Like, I love her, but I'd be fine. I'd just go back to... But in literally the next 30 seconds, he's talking about how he plans on marrying her. And then he ends up in the hot tub by himself. Like, he's not doing anything with anybody. He has every intention of being faithful. He's entertaining people, but not like this one over here.
She's never going
Not
to
like
tune it off
David.
now. That's her show forever.
No, like, I watch it because literally, like, I don't need to watch season 3 because it's just more of the same.
Right.
But, like, it was so fucked up because all they did was show this girl who's already hyper emotional, super insecure. Like, it's bad. She's crying. Like, she's probably in the SUV on the way to the bonfire. Like, oh my God,
Yes.
what's up with that? And I'm going like, girl, relax. And they show her this, and the next date she goes on, as far as production goes, she ends up sucking face with this dude and whatever. And she's like, I've never been kissed like that before. And I'm like, oh boy. So like they completely pushed her. They completely pushed her over the edge with that. She's like, he doesn't even love me. He's been lying to me about everything. Mind you, the next 30 seconds that they didn't show her was him saying how he's going to marry her. Like, it's
when you
fucked up.
saw his reaction to it too, right? Like,
He's very upset.
you get, again.
He did the banging. He banged.
Yeah.
And the guys were like, ooh.
Should have been, wow, that was so the bonfires are very long. Again, everything's condensed, right? Those bonfires are they are so long. They are so long. So his reaction was a lot more than that. And you only
Really?
saw like a piece of it.
Yeah,
you
it was
know?
like 13
It
seconds.
was
not
intense.
even.
That's the thing. Reality TV, you see certain pieces of certain things, you know? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And you just gotta look, at the end of the day, ManTFUp. I signed up for the show. I did what I did. It is what it is. I said sorry to the appropriate parties, and I hope everybody's better off for it. I hope my ex is in a better place. I hope everybody from the show is in a better place.
Did you have any different expectations than what actually happened? I mean, did you, before you went to the show, were you like, damn, this is a reality TV show. I know they're going to put me in all kinds of positions. I mean, did you think about that before you went?
So I didn't really watch reality TV. I watched The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, you know, and that's kind of different because that's, I mean, it's like 30 girls or guys or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
within
it's
one-
super
yeah.
out there. So I didn't know how it would work when you go in there with someone you're in a relationship, as opposed to.
But you knew the name, right?
I knew the name. And I think I knew what temptation meant. No, but to be honest with you, the piece I talked about before, when you're in a setting like that, it's so hard to explain. When you have no contact with the outside world, your phone, your family, your friends, nobody, and all you are is in that environment, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So to answer your question, I would
Holding
say
your hand. I'm sorry.
I would say
I'm like,
what's going on over there? I would say half of it I expected, and the other half I didn't. You know, and at the end of the day, look, you're filmed for, first of all, you're filmed for 24 hours too, which all the other
yeah.
pieces involved. You're filmed and you're woken up by bright lights at
Well, I was-
X in the morning.
every
6
time
in
they're
the
in
morning.
bed, the lights are on full fucking. I'm like, how do
Floodlights,
you
dude.
sleep like that? Like literally, and then I saw more dudes wearing the little eye thing.
Yes.
Like the little sleepy masks. But I
have
realized
one of
like
those.
the lights were like it was like lights like this on all the time.
Yeah.
That was crazy
Yes.
town.
Yeah, those things
Unless you
are-
were having a threesome, at which time then it was like black light. Then it was more like night vision.
Then it was
Did they turn the lights off for you for that moment?
so that was at like, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning, something like that.
So the lights come
So
down
lights
at that.
came off, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, here's the thing.
Were you able to sneak away and fuck some hoes?
No.
Fuck some hoes.
Well,
just
I
saying.
heard things that happen in the girls' house. Without, again, I'm not going to throw shit out there, whatever, but things that happen off camera that may or may not have been known to the world, you know. And again, that's the whole part
Like the
of it, right?
producer banged all of them.
I don't know if I would say all that, but I would definitely say that there's things that you would think never would happened. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And
How
I say
far
that
away
with,
were
like,
you guys?
99% confidence. Probably a mile or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, they make it seem like
Oh,
it's
they ma-
obviously
yeah,
like
yeah,
that
like
they're
you're in
on two
another
totally separate islands. Like
Yeah.
it's hilarious. But I will say this: so when we talk about manning the fuck up, like you went into it. Like one of my notes was you were admittedly not emotionally really available to your person. Like that was just not your forte. You were more of a let my actions speak for my words. Like I'm not. He's a typical. I don't want to say a typical dude, but like maybe not overly emotional. And she seemed like she was craving that.
Look, I'll never. Here's my thing: when you're in a relationship with somebody, there's give and take, right? Like you have to adjust to give like what somebody else needs, but at the same time, you can't let go of your core values and how you are as a man or as a woman, right? For me, and I hate the whole love language bullshit, just like I hate the whole horoscope bullshit. There's parts of it that are real. There's parts of it that I think are complete bullshit. And if you look into that, and I'm sorry if you do, because you look at me like
No.
if
It's
you look
funny with
into-
the love language thing.
because I'm an Aries, right?
Yeah.
And I tell people that, and oh no, I hate Aries, they're not compatible, all this stuff, right? I like acts of service. I always have, always will. Now, and this is my opinion, most women, including my ex, liked words of affirmation, you know? And for me, I understood that, and I look, I tried to give that, but for me, I go off of what I like to receive. I like to receive acts of service. As opposed to you say sweet nothings and all this shit in my ear.
Yeah.
Like, do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that would make me happy, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know. So to answer your question, I knew that, and yeah, that was like a little, that was a little hiccup in our relationship up to that point, and it just got exacerbated by the whole concept of the show and.
But you were definitely showing some emotions. I mean,
100%.
like you were, and I don't know if that's just the stress, and it's just like you said, it's the all-encompassing craziness that is being on a reality TV show. But there were like some tears, and you were like, "Yo, like I don't think I've ever cried before."
I really never cried. I mean, of course, like I had some tears at some point if a family member dies or whatnot, right? But
we won the championship.
Yeah, but I never really that part where I cried. That was so much longer than what you saw. And people, and again, the thing about reality TV is everyone sees something, they're like, oh, well, this guy cried for five seconds and then it's bullshit and he doesn't mean it, whatever. It's like, dude, if you were there and you were the cameraman or you were the producer and you saw me cry in the conversations that we had off camera, you would know that it wasn't, I felt like shit. And that was one of the lows of the whole entire thing. Now, look, you're supposed to embrace the concept of being single, right? So that's the double-edged sword. You're supposed to embrace being single, but at the same time, you're in a relationship, And that's what's hard. And that's why people either succeed, which I don't know if anyone's really succeeded from the show, but that's why people definitely fail from the show because they don't realize the shit that can happen when you actually embrace the show. So it's a fucked up triangle.
Well, yeah, like they came in with rules for each other. And I was like, well, the producers aren't going to be happy about that. It was like, don't touch, don't kiss, don't whatever. And it was like, well, that's the whole premise of the show. So within, I don't want to say week one, but obviously that's out the window. And then you can hear them referencing somebody sucking somebody's toes. And it's
was wild.
I should have put that on. Who knew I was going to need to put don't suck toes on the list of rules? And, so it's just, it's funny. But did you learn anything? Is there anything that you've taken from your time there as far as relationships go moving forward? Like in terms of manning the fuck up in relationships or just what you're looking for or what you're capable of giving?
That's a great question. So I think in terms of, I wouldn't say I have every guy has somewhat of an ego, right? I think that's just what you're born into.
Somewhat of an ego.
And sometimes in the past, I would maybe let my ego get in the way in terms of how I communicated, right? Like I was too prideful to open up about something. I was too prideful to be vulnerable. And I think part of the fuck up, at least what I've learned over the past few years is it's okay to be like that. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to let your guard down. Because if you're not vulnerable, especially as it relates to relationships, if you're not vulnerable and you don't put yourself out there and understand that you might get hurt, because that's just what comes with the territory, you're never going to get anywhere. And I think that goes mainly for relationships, but just in life in general, So if I would say that's one thing I learned is just to be more in touch with my emotions as it relates to being honest and true to myself, but then also a girl I'm with or a business relationship or whatever.
Gotcha.
He touched on something really good before about, how much you do for your woman or she does for you when you first get into a relationship. So, I think a big problem with a lot of these young relationships is they're really trying to not be themselves. They're trying to be what he wants or what she wants. And then 6 months in, they're like, who the fuck are you? If you go at it straight up, beat your chest, whatever you are, however you go at it, if you go at it straight up, you've got 10 times the chance of having a successful relationship.
You know what?
And finding the person that means something.
And I think that women are going to be mad at me for saying this. We were talking about it with some of our guests.
I hope they all hate you.
From another podcast, from another episode. But no, I was saying my uncle told me a very long time ago, and it was so truthful. He was like, the problem with men and women in dating is the fact that everything women love about us in the beginning ends up being the shit that they hate about us 6 months, 6 years, 16 years down the road. He was like, we don't change. And so to your point, I think men are much better at showing who they are sooner than women who, or at least in what they want. I think that men are, I don't want to say good at laying it out, but I think you can, if you pay attention.
Can we have explained this to you? What do men want?
Sex.
Period.
Okay. but my point is but we were saying it for a woman. If a dude is too aggressive in the beginning, you're like, you're a creep. Back up. Give me space. But that same woman doesn't want space from him in 6 months. But if he was giving you space in the beginning, he's going to be giving you space in 6 days. He's going to be giving you space in 6 weeks, in 6 months, in 6 years. That's who he is. That's how, it's the place that he operates from. So we have like the terms, there's levels to the shit. And with women, they set a timeline, right? Oh, in 6 months, we need to be here. And in a year, we should be here. And we like to compare to other relationships and our friends. And, oh, well, they've been dating and they moved in together. And it's just wild because dudes are pretty much like, here I am. Like Al Bundy, right? Like hand in the pants. And like, this is who I am.
But women also, right, they have a biological clock. There's a lot of things that go into it, depending on how they're raised. You know, their mother can be pushing certain philosophies or ideas upon them. You need to get married at this age. You have to be blah, 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 right? And I think that's sort of breaking now with the younger generation. But anybody that's over, in my opinion, anyone that's over like 26, 27, definitely still has sort of an older mindset. But the younger generation, I think, has the exact opposite mindset, like the hoeing mindset times 10. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of it is social media. You know,
it's definitely
it's social media, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's bad.
Well, yeah, like, and I'm definitely over the 27, and I'm still open to other, like, I'm not that biological clock, and it's crazy because none of my, didn't we just have this conversation recently where I was like, I look at my friends from college, many work in the entertainment industry, producers, executives, Google, whatever, and not necessarily married, not kids, happy in our situations, have great guy friends. It's not that we haven't had meaningful relationships. It's just the priority wasn't necessarily on those quote unquote traditional things. But the words of my uncle just always ring true. And I'm guilty of doing the exact same thing. Like, I'm guilty of that, you know, in the sense of, if you think at any point in time you're going to want to be in an everyday thing, don't be with the guy that can go 3 weeks without seeing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're talking every day, like men just don't, I think men are very good at showing exactly who they are. We just don't want to see it. So we put our blinders up like this, or it's that, you know, that metaphorical, I can change it. No, you can't. No, you can't. He can.
Although
change if
you
he
can
wants
curb
to
them.
change.
You know, I've been in a relationship for 30 years now, so you can. There is things that change. You know, first of all, people evolve. They grow up. They, you know, every 5 years, everybody changes. But there's things that my wife might not have liked about me in the beginning, and she, you know, put the toilet seat down. You know, the whole it's small things, but I'm still me.
Yeah, and I
you know.
But men also, you know, there's that, what is that saying? Like, a man will change when he wants to change for himself. Like, you can't, somebody, because you can fake it.
That's anybody.
You can say, I'm going to change,
just men.
you know, I'm changing. But if it's not true to who you are, to your point, David, it's not going to last. Like, you can fake the funk. And that's why that 6 month mark hits so hard, because I feel like that's the, as long as you can fake it. You can't fake it beyond 6 months. You can only pretend to be somebody that you are not for a limited amount of time before it just gets exhausting and that facade starts to crumble and crack, right?
Why do you think so many people during COVID broke up? You saw the real person.
Yeah.
You saw the real person. You didn't see like the temperate. You saw the real person.
You saw 24/7 of the real person.
I also saw a lot of dudes that were like, I'm not going a year without Bussy. So I'm going to go. Who did I go on my last date with? Do you want to move in? Like, you want to live together? You want to quarantine together? I'd never seen so many relationships go from 0 to moved in so quickly. And then as soon as quarantine was quote unquote over, it was like, yeah, I'm out. So yeah, crazy time.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't stay home for
married.
5 minutes.
Oh,
No, I didn't stay home for 5 minutes.
We also lived in Florida.
Yeah. So what do you know?
And I went to work.
What is COVID in Florida? Florida COVID can't use it.
Cold. It's cold here.
Yeah.
We've all had it.
Okay.
Simple cold. It's a simple cold, Kimmy.
Stop it. David.
We've all had it.
You already were behind. You forget I've seen Temptation Island. So
No,
I
like,
already have.
I was 5 steps
is
behind.
just-
Now I'm like,
you know what I
10 or
mean?
15.
Soccer player, like, you're just checking all the boxes here now. You're
Tear the
calling
paper
COVID
up.
a cold?
Tear the paper up. No, it's not a cold. Look, COVID is
It's dangerous.
It's a real disease. It's dangerous. It is. It's not a myth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fake. However, I do think that it applies to certain demographics. If you're older and you're you know,
Susceptible.
you have an underlying thing, you're susceptible. Get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Get
Yeah.
the vaccine. I'm not people because I don't post a lot of things on social media about the vaccine or COVID or much.
Yeah, no, you post your car, your fancy schmancy McLaren.
I just post my car all the time. That's all.
That's his baby.
And my thing is I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not. They're important. There's people being vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just anti-mandate. If you push it down our throat, it just sometimes it can make you wonder
Speaking
like
your-
what.
Like, this is Lenny's
what is
love
this?
language. This conversation right here is Lenny's love language.
The sixth love language. No, but honestly though, I think that's the problem with it, right? Is people
it's
pushing it down your throat, then that kind of question makes you question it.
Been blown out of proportion for the past 2 years. Nobody else in this country has died from anything except COVID, which, you know, it's they've played it and played it and played it, and I think, you know, people are getting tired of it. I mean, it just seems very weird to me that, you know, you're killing businesses. People clearly want to go eat at restaurants. Why don't you let them go eat? You know, all this stuff is, what's the point? So you could save grandma. Grandma doesn't have to leave her house. And grandma can get vaccinated. So why does everybody else have to? And I get it, Kimmy. I get it.
Beyond grandma, but we're not going to have this. Lenny and I are doing good.
We've done this we've had this conversation 20 times.
Lenny and I are doing all right this week.
I'm with you, David.
We're on good.
I'm with you. I don't.
Like I said,
you know, I don't take any medication. I'm 54 years old. I don't take cholesterol. I don't take, you know, any of that. I don't take any meds. I had a doctor tell me, if you don't start taking cholesterol and thyroid medication, I'm not going to see you anymore. I said, can you fix that with diet? He said, yes, but you have to take the medicine. I'm like,
no, you don't.
Thank you, Kimmy.
Yeah, no,
no, you don't.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean I have a choice on what medicine I put in my body?
And you have a choice in this country what vaccines you put in your body too.
Well,
okay.
You know.
Like I said, we're getting along now, so we're not going to show you know how you don't show your ass in front of company? We're not going to do that. But no, my biggest frustration with this conversation is that we're not touching on the health of America as a whole.
Yes.
And
no, that's absolute.
A D1 athlete, a guy who, you know, makes his living with, you know, all natural supplements and being in this space. Nestor, who's our producer.
Listen,
like
I lived that unhealthy life, and I weighed the same. Okay, so it's not so much, you know, someone said to me, hey, you know, you might want to look into getting a little healthier. So you know what? I did, because it's available. Mm-hmm. It's you as a person can do it. Yeah. It's not like some magic bullet. I mean, I ate fast food every day.
But why?
Because, you know, when you're in the construction industry, you're out on the road, you know, there's always a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Wendy's. They're always there.
Guess what?
Taco Bell.
And the fuck up.
Well, I did.
Make a lunch.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I did. I changed.
Have her make you a lunch.
I made a decision to change my life, and I did it. And that's, you know,
But
everybody's got that choice.
But to your point, like, nobody has died of anything else, you know, according to quote unquote mainstream media. As a person who worked in it, I have to air quote that. But, you know, heart disease, cancer, those were killing more Americans than anything else.
Not in the last 2 years. Nobody died from that in the last 2 years.
And we get it. But the point is, that's a much bigger conversation. And it was the same token. It was like, you can't change your immune system. Like, go out and buy vitamin C tablets. That's not going to... You don't reset your immune system by taking a vitamin one time, right? It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle, and it's on us to educate one another and to prioritize our health and wellness beyond COVID. So let's start having that conversation. At this point now, how do we
let's skip the bitches.
No, but like, how do we avoid being in this situation again? Because it'll happen again.
You're getting fired up.
It'll happen again. So let's be healthy.
It's not going to happen
But
again.
sure, we can.
We all have our guns still. It's not going to happen again.
No, there'll be another pandemic.
There always will be.
Yeah, that's
you know. And listen, and the Earth is going to get swallowed by a black hole.
Oh my God! Don't do
Eventually,
that.
you know, shit's happened. There's going to be another ice age because it happens every 12,000 years.
See,
all this stuff's gonna happen.
Listen, righty, relax. You're going real. You're going all the way over here,
Long
buddy.
Island's going to be way off in the ocean.
Florida's going to be swallowed up by the ocean. It's going to sink.
Florida's already getting swallowed by the ocean.
California's going to break off. Like, no, don't make it extra read all about it. There will be another pandemic in the next 30 years, and hopefully we as a nation are just in a better situation health-wise to not lose 700,000 people. That's all I'm saying. Let's just do better moving forward, which means we have to stop talking about this shit and start having the real conversation.
Sorry that fast food stocks dropped, but,
I just don't think that there will ever be a time where there is no Coca-Cola or McDonald's. I just don't think that'll ever be able to not happen.
Ever.
And it's people just need to make smart choices.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, every once in a while, if you're just craving a burger or
Eat a
some
pizza.
fries. No,
Have a
even
burger.
fries from McDonald's. You know, everybody loves McDonald's
Yeah,
fries.
you have good fries.
Yeah, so if you're craving that every once in a while, it's not going to kill you.
No.
When you wake up in the morning and you get a 2-liter bottle of Coke and, whatever breakfast burritos you can fit in your hand, that's going to kill you.
Yep.
Moderation is not going to kill you.
Even when wait, can I tell you something? Men, take notes. Moderation is not going to kill you, even when it comes to, as you guys like, hoes and bitches. You know what I mean? Moderation.
Look at
please.
Kimmy throwing those big words out there.
Moderation. All right. So, David, you're going to be our first person to pick one of our. Pick a
Oh
card,
God,
any
these
card.
games are dangerous.
No.
It's not a game. It's just a question.
Yeah, just a question. All right, we'll choose this one.
Okay. This is a fill in the blank. The world would be better if
people use common sense.
And condoms.
The two
and
C's.
condom.
There are people where you see and you're like, you should have used a condom.
Yeah.
But common sense. It
Yeah.
relates to everything, right? It's common sense. Nowadays, with as it relates to COVID, health decisions, relationships, use common sense, dude. If a relationship doesn't seem like it's going to work out, why are you wasting each other's time? If you want to eat a McFlurry every day, that's probably not the best decision.
Yep.
So just common sense.
No, but listen, as far as I'm concerned, you can eat whatever the fuck you want. But don't complain to me when you're fucking 300 pounds and fucking crying. I don't care. Yeah, don't complain to me about it. Don't come and say, oh, I'm going to die from a common cold so nobody can get a cold anymore. That's the real issue. Even if it wasn't COVID, Kimmy, even if it wasn't that, the flu kills 60,000 people a year.
Yep.
So there's things. And those people over there that eat that shit every day are the ones that are telling me I got to do something. I got to put some poison in my body.
And it's all really in our own hands, for sure.
Yes.
I don't disagree with you on that, Len. Write this down. Somebody take notes. I don't disagree with you on
Can we
that.
make sure we can
I have it
separate
on
that
tape.
part?
Pretty good. Yes, and I
have
think
it
the
on
world would
tape.
be better if people would listen to each other. Like, actually have the conversations like we're doing here. Like, that is, again, the point of this entire podcast, is to literally have conversations where you can disagree, but you're still engaging in a healthy conversation. I don't think anything.
Yeah,
I don't think any less of you just because you say crazy shit.
That's important, though. That's really important, especially right now, politically, the way the country is. Listen, we can agree to disagree, and that's what you should do as adults and people practicing common sense, critical. You should disagree. I think anybody, as it relate all the way up to government or business, or you want people that think differently than you, because that's how you get shit done, and that's how you become in a relationship. If you disagree and you agree to disagree, that makes you closer, in my opinion.
But also, if you never have the conversation, and again, it always comes back to this, with somebody that doesn't think like you never know the other side of something.
You're narrow-minded.
You know what I'm saying? So you also don't know what you're up against. So when you surround yourself with like-minded individuals only, you can't see how something like a January 6th can happen, right? Or you can't see how the fallout from, a George, like, if you're only around people that think exactly like you, things become very shocking, right? But if you're engaging in conversations with different ideologies and things like that, you're like, I can see how this happened.
It's funny you should say that, because that's what's going on in today's society is they're only getting things that are like-minded through their phones. They're not getting facts. They're getting one side, or in most cases, bullshit, right, directly fed to them. So even if you're sitting in a room of 20 like-minded people, you're all getting pushed by someone else. So no matter, me and David get along on subjects, agree on subjects, it doesn't matter. My phone's telling me one thing and his phone's telling him something else. And the truth is, 99% of the people in this country don't know the difference between this and what they're getting and with reality.
Well, also, I remember when the phrase, there's his side, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle, right? That used to be something you heard all the time. Like people would stop down and take into consideration, okay, I've heard that side. I've heard that side. Now let's find the place in the middle. You don't hear that saying, right? I guarantee you if I went to Gen Z right now, if I went to some 16-year-old, they'd be like, what, huh? How old are you, 77? Like, who says that? I've never heard that before. And that's sad because it really should be that. Like, you should be questioning, no matter what you hear, you should be going, okay, so if that's what they said, and that's what they said, right? The world of reality television, we see what's happening at the guy's house, we see what's happening at the girl's house, then we see what okay, so there's...
She's not letting you off.
Something ever. I'm always going to bring it back to that. But the truth is somewhere
of course,
in the middle, right?
I think that's... People used to think like that back when people read newspapers instead of their phone, right? People had conversations. People interacted face to face, not... Especially a little kid, right? It starts now at a young age. A 16-year-old is just busy worrying about TikTok videos than getting to understand how the real world and how shit works, you know? And that's scary. That Gen Z, I don't even know what the breakout was like. Gen.
I don't know. I have a 13 and a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old. So there's a clear separation between the two of them. Although my 25-year-old is he's a little lazy. He's a great kid, respectful. You met him, I think.
Yeah,
he was driving the Raptor.
Yeah.
But, great kid. But, again, he thinks he deserves more money because he's him. And I told him, I said, when I wanted more money from my boss, I went to my boss and I said, hey, you got more hours I can work? Not, hey, I need more money to live. You got more hours I can work so I can make more money? This generation's like, well, we can't afford to live, so you have to pay us more. That's not my fault. Sorry, but that's not my fault. You could come home and live in the 4th bedroom and stay in the house. I'll pay for all your bills, help you get on your feet. But I don't have to support you if you choose to move out.
And it's funny because most millennials are doing exactly that. They're living in their parents' crib and they're stacking paper and they don't ever want to leave.
Oh, that's okay. It's a choice and they're making it. But they don't expect, it's the expectation of being owed something. And that's a lot of just conditioning over the last 40 or 50 years coming to truth. I know we've talked about some things where, Native Americans, whatever, people weren't treated right in this country. Women just want to have the same opportunity that men have, right? That's great. It's gone from that original movement to you guys owe us. And that's the difference. If you're, asking to have equality overall is one thing, but saying you owe us it's a flip, and it's happened only in the past 20 years. It's only happened. People want, we want the same rights you have. That's fine. We'll fight for that. Okay? But we owe you something. You want something for nothing. It's flipped. Kimmy, it's flipped a little bit. I hate to get serious like that, but it's flipped a little bit. And I see it with my kids. And I see it like, I don't owe you shit.
But the problem is, though, a lot of that is, I don't know how Nick, like, if you knew Lenny's work ethic is next level. So I don't know how Nick ended up that way. And this isn't me dragging Nick. Like, I got that from, so millennials have this reputation of being lazy,
my young
right?
ones have it too.
So,
my young ones think they deserve everything.
I don't, so what I'm saying to you is, though, my work ethic is, honestly, I'm that person. I won't do a job that I'm not passionate about because I know I'm not going to give you everything. But when I love what I do, there's no 100%. You're going to get 250%. Like, above and beyond, I'm invested in it. Like, it's my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that person. I had,
like, you're going to pick the clothes up off the floor. Invested.
Sure.
I think it's just a shift. There needs to be a shift in mindset, It needs to go back to the old school way of thinking. You get what you work for. There's no handouts. There's no free passes. There's no, just because you look us, and again, I don't want to
bring. What are you now, 30?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, but so this
should...
Did
you add 29?
But this should inspire you.
12, 13 years ago.
What?
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
He was 17 when he moved out.
3 in front of my age and just depressing.
Oh, well, no, because
it's the dirty 30s, bro.
It's the dirty. You'll have fun, but no, but that should be inspiring in some sense, to have somebody saying we need to go back to that old school mentality where it's hustle and grind. But you have to see that somewhere. You have to be brought up in that environment, which is why it's so surprising to me that Nick doesn't have it, because you definitely do.
Yeah, I always work.
So what the fuck happened? Tell him to man the
Who
fuck
you
up.
surround yourself with.
What happened is this.
Yep.
It's this outside influence,
Right.
which is very hard to overcome because, kids nowadays, oh, yeah, I want that. I want this. But they're not willing to work for it. Like you worked for your car.
He has a McLaren.
I
guys.
get it, but you worked for
Yeah.
it. Your dad didn't buy it for you. You wanted it and you figured out how to get it. So, it's the hustle and you put in the time. It's like anybody will look at anybody in business and go, wow, man, you're a fucking overnight success. Yeah, that's fine. It took me 10 years to be an overnight success.
20-year overnight success. For sure.
But that's the way people look at it.
Yep.
They don't look at what you did to get there. They look at what you got when you got there. And that's the mindset. And it's very, very hard to change in this country right now. And
you got to man the fuck up, people.
you got to man the fuck
Because
up.
Instagram, right? Instagram, everyone sees everything's so perfect. Oh, you're vacationing, you got these nice cars, all this shit, and people just think like, oh, I should just have that too,
Yeah.
And it's again, to go back to your point about what people see, the end goal, buying a that McLaren isn't even the most exciting part of anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a small piece. The more exciting part is what you did to get to that point.
Yeah.
That bullshit is just a car, an ass, whatever. It's the in between
Yep.
of when you started and you said, okay, I want to get to the point where I want to be able to buy a McLaren or a Lambo.
But that's a true
In
hustle
between stuff.
mentality. But that's that mentality. When you set out, when instead of looking at Instagram and feeling entitled, to your point, you look at it and you use it as motivation. Like, if he's got it, I know I can go out and get it too. And that's what I always said. The thing that inspired me the most about Miami and why I never left, like, I walked tables on South Beach. I worked at fucking Mango's. And I would look around and be like, yo, there's so many people here who have made it in unconventional ways. Like, yes, you've got people who come from money. Yes, you've got people that are involved in illicit activities. But at the end of the day, you've got people who are athletes. Do you know how many people make it in that world, right? When you think about the level of commitment and dedication and the breaks and how things have to work in your favor to get to that level, right? Like, that should motivate you. When you sit back and I look at you and you have this, or I look at David and he, it's how you play your cards, but you can take it as motivation and inspiration to go out and get whatever it is that you aspire to. And that's what made this place so special to me, was looking at all these people that, didn't do it like everybody else.
Everyone's going to come to a point in their life where you're going to go one way, you're going to go the other way. The one way is you're probably going to try to take the easy way out, look for handouts.
They become haters.
Bullshit. Seriously.
That's the road to haterville, right there.
You're going to be that person, or you're going to man the fuck up and you're going to try to figure it out, and you're not going to take no for an answer until you get to wherever you want to get to. And that's it. And a lot of people, they come to that fork and they shit their pants, or they're too scared, or they don't want to actually be uncomfortable, and they're just going to take the easy way out. Oh, this is what my friends are doing, or this is what I think I should do. People don't want to blaze their own trail. And unfortunately, that's why, half of the country is how they are.
I mean, listen, we still have to have those people that want to go in.
Yeah.
Haterville, but people who just don't, they don't have the hustle, but they still go to work and they do their job. And, the people who work in all the industries in the country that aren't the bosses, we're starting to lose those. We're starting to lose those people who will go to a regular job. Everybody wants to be the boss.
Yeah.
My 25-year-old wants to be the boss. Why can't I get the same shit you get?
Fucking work for it. That annoys me. When you say that, it legitimately annoys me.
But it's true. But it's the mentality of the youth of this country.
But do parents not play a role in that? Like, this conversation, I feel like just spirals.
I've always lived the philosophy parenting of, kids learn by example. You can tell them to blue in the face, don't do that. They don't care. If you don't do it as a parent, most likely they're not going to do it. And that's just the way I live my life. But it's not 100% true. It's not, I mean, my oldest had inherently part of me in him. He didn't like school. He just didn't do it. He managed to get through school because he went to a private school. and they helped him along the way. But he didn't like school. My 2 young ones are both honor roll kids, so I know Nick is just like me. I hated school.
That he should have that. He's got the ability to hustle. He's got the ability to make his dreams come true. If he's got you.
Oh yeah, he's got the hustle. He's got the hustle, but he just doesn't.
He needs to
he's got the ability to hustle, but it's like 40 hours.
Have
that's
you ever
it.
Considered pulling the rug out from underneath him? No, you haven't.
That's a tough thing.
He's such a tough guy, and I'm talking about you. But you also you would never leave your kid. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
I might. Listen, he maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. If you have a kid that's got good qualities and good stuff, he's just not at that maturity level to get to that point. That's a different story. If you got a kid who's clearly a fuck up and just says, hey, I don't give a shit, you're going to take care of me, that's a different fucking story.
Yeah.
That's a different story. And Nick is starting to come around a little bit, at 26 years old.
Maybe he's a late bloomer.
That's fine. That's what his mom says.
Okay.
So we're good with that.
I think when David was just talking about manning the fuck up, and it was so quintessentially true to what this is. And I think that manning the fuck up is also being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? That's a part of manning the fuck up. So if you can get to that place where you're comfortable even when shit isn't going your way, when things aren't breaking in your favor, you can push through. And I think that you're a testament to that, Lenny. And so are you, at least in relationships. I mean, it seems like everything else seems to have gone pretty well for you. I mean, just from the outside looking in.
I just figure it out. You just got to figure it out. Shit's going to happen, ups and downs. Again, people see, I have a McLaren and a BMW. None of that shit matters. Mm-hmm. What matters is what you did to that point. What matters is the ups and downs that you went through to get to that point, and how you learn from that and how you're going to be better off for it. That's all. So
he really wants to drop this microphone. He's done it a couple times.
Would you stop?
If it wasn't here, it would be.
See, I like this because here's the thing: when people see you on a show, then they think they know who you are in real life. When I'm able to have conversations and people actually see who the fuck I really am in real life and how I think, that's refreshing to me. Because then people, so he isn't just some asshole from a show that did this or this in episode 5, whatever, right? People are like, oh, okay. He's, different than we thought.
Yeah. People stereotype. We were talking about that earlier. I mean, it's like women are like, oh, you think of us all as da, da, da. Well, women think of men the same way, But
you know what, though? And I think that the climate of the country has forced me into understanding that I can no longer take that personally, right? I can no longer take the stereotypes. We talk about the word bitches and things like that. But it's if that is what the stereotype is, I just have to carry myself in a way that sets me apart from that. And I can't feel a way because that's how everyone else is perceived, because I have every opportunity on a daily basis to change your mind about me, right? And how I carry myself. And then maybe that'll help redirect your perception as a whole, but I can only worry about how I'm perceived, not how you perceive all women, because I know when I walk into a room, whatever you thought about all women, I have the opportunity to let you know what you need to think about.
And what we thought about you when we first saw you. Damn, it's but
that ass head.
It's
that's me, okay? Literally.
But I think that if more people would stop taking stereotypes personally, right, and appreciate them for what they are, but realize that every day, every minute, every conversation, you have the opportunity to prove all of that shit wrong, you'd be in a much happier space than fighting for what? Just live your life and show and prove, right? Basically.
Copy that.
Works for me.
Yeah?
I think so.
I guess that's another way to man the fuck up.
Yeah. So we got way off track here. I wanted to ask David about bitches.
Go ahead, fellas.
Not the ones on the show, but, in general, I mean, do women actually, women who know that you're on the show or saw you on the show, more attracted or less?
I guarantee you more.
It's to be honest, it depends.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. I think, first of all, it depends on how much of the show they watched. Now, if they watched the first couple episodes, maybe it's a little different than someone that watched 6 or 7 episodes. You know,
Binge.
so it just kind of depends, right? I mean, you go on reality TV, then people know you, you know, and people would recognize you, and that has its own shit that comes with it. The thing is, though, I think that the type of women that are actually looking for a relationship, that's where it hinders it the most, you know? For a girl maybe that wants to have fun or whatnot, like that's there, right? But it's about the girls that actually want to settle down. That's where it can be a bit of a challenge. And you hope, again, that people understand how that whole thing works. And I'm not trying to not admit faults, because I fucked up on the show with things I did. It is what it is. And I'm trying to man the fuck up, and you
Yeah, but
take
you also
responsibility for it.
feel like that inevitably, the end result would have inevitably happened anyways.
Correct.
So that was just
Helps it along.
that was a tool that moved it along.
Right.
So, you know, it's I think deep down people know that. You know, I think you might have known, hey man, you know, I love her, but I don't think we're going to be together forever. Maybe if we go on the show, you know, this is your brain talking, not your, you know, but deep down you might have said, hey, let's try this and see what happens. And, you know, it might be something that can help me, you know, man the fuck up and, you know, move to where I need to.
You look like you have a very
She's
pressing
ready.
question.
No. But I'm thinking.
Looks like she's going to punch me.
No, just from the other, because I'm a firm believer that men can dish it, but they can't take it when it comes to relationships and cheating and physicality. Like, if you are truly in love with somebody, like, how difficult was it to watch your person be with other people?
Really difficult. So the way the show works is you see a clip, right?
Yeah.
So you see
Very
the worst clip of what happens. Now, when you get home and the cameras go off, then you have conversations, and maybe people leave certain things out. But generally speaking, you get to know a lot more of what happened.
Yeah.
When the cameras weren't on, and that was probably harder than just seeing one clip. You know, because you see one clip and like you can interpret that a million different ways. Was it a certain time? Like, all that stuff, right? But when you actually were to have a conversation and understand exactly what happened, to me that was harder than seeing a clip. Don't get me wrong, seeing a clip was not easy, especially because you don't get a chance at that moment to say, okay, what happened? What was the context?
Yeah, you're just left with your thoughts.
Before, after, all that,
Which is really dangerous.
Then
when it
your
comes
mind
to the
is
women,
against.
let me tell you.
It's you versus you at that point, right?
Boy, oh boy, can we be really creative.
And then again, the environment you're in, I'll use the word again, exacerbates all of that, right? It makes it all worse.
But I would think, just from that male ego perspective, watching your person or knowing that they're dragging you to other men or developing an emotional connection, because that's always the thing with dudes, is like, dudes will say, you know, if she steps out, it wasn't really just a physical thing. Like, she had feelings. Like, because, you know, men can separate. We're just here for the sex, and it's not emotional and whatever. And I was just in a house with these girls, and it didn't mean anything. But if your girl steps out and you're in a significant relationship, and she's, you know how in love she was, if she got to that point where she was willing to emotionally connect with somebody else, like, y'all don't really bounce back the same way. Like, women are so much more resilient when it comes to the
I don't think
partners
she's really
cheating.
emotionally connecting with that dude. I think she is taking out her anger on that dude. You know, if you're talking about she's doing it to get back at you, she's taking out anger. There's no emotion involved there with her.
In
with
these
him.
situations, though, you're spending significant time. You're in a house with these other people, so you're making connections. You're having these meetings, and she's basically airing all his dirty laundry to the dude that she's getting closest to, right? So, like, he doesn't fulfill me in this way, or he doesn't, like, and that just can't be, like, from a pride perspective, from a pride standpoint, as a man, like, at least the guys I know, like, I think that would be harder. You know what I mean? And then
You know what the dude says?
y'all just are not.
I won't make that mistake again.
Well, seriously, I mean, at the very end, right? Well, actually, you haven't watched the whole season. So
Go ahead. I'll watch it anyway.
don't spoil it
I don't
for
wanna
her.
At the end, I just try to be straight up in the conversation that we have.
Yeah.
You know, with my ex.
But we saw the clip. I think we saw the clip, and you owned.
And again, you guys see parts of that conversation, right? But I owned that conversation, or I owned up to all of it in that conversation, and you know that was spun a certain way. But look, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I don't know what more I can say. And a lot of times people think, not only my ex or anyone that knows me, I'm a little more dry, you know, in the way that just how I am. And people sometimes mistake that for not caring or I'm an asshole. And it's like, no, dude, I'm just different than someone else. But it doesn't mean, and I say this all the time, if I don't tell you things all the time in terms of how much I love you or care about you, if maybe I'm more serious, that doesn't mean I don't care about you, or that doesn't mean I'm 100% in. It just means I'm different, you know, and everybody loves different. Everyone reacts different. Everyone has a different view on a personal or business relationship. It doesn't mean you don't feel the same way as the other person. And I feel like that goes back to our point, whether it's someone you're in a relationship with or just humans in general, they need to understand that more. People need to be more understanding of, you're fucking different than you. You're different than me. And we all need to just see and understand that, instead of just being so tunnel vision, laser focused on, no, someone has to be just like me or think just like me, because that's
just never going to happen.
Ever. Like, we're going to wrap this up, I know, but there's a saying, and it's just because somebody doesn't love you the way that you want them to doesn't mean they don't love you with everything that they have.
Yep.
And it's a matter of deciding if the way that they love you is going to be enough for you moving forward. Although I will say this, you should probably not date needy women.
Yes.
Is there anything but?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because the women that aren't quote unquote needy, and again, that's a different definition for everybody probably, but generally
they're single.
Speaking, they're single
At 40.
Yeah.
Are you taking shots? Right
No,
now?
I'm just making a point. You know, I mean, you know, the women who aren't needy, you know, men
also like
need to take care of their women. So by definition, the woman needs to be needy. So if you don't need a man to take care of you at all in some aspect other than sex.
But I'm saying emotionally, like emotionally needy. If you need somebody to tell you to reaffirm constantly.
You're talking about
with words.
Don't date anybody who's carrying their dog around with them 24/7.
Well, the problem, what it is validation, and it's been multiplied 10x by Instagram, right, or by social media. I need and that's the problem I have with social media. People want validation from people they could give two shits about, and it's the weirdest concept to me. Girls want it from girls that they hate. They want it from guys that they'll never talk to, just like an OnlyFans thing, right? Like the concept of wanting validation from someone that you will never, ever, ever, ever associate with or even meet in your life blows my mind. But then that carries over into a relationship. And, I need you to say this. I need you to say that.
Yeah.
For me, it's actions. If I can tell by your actions that you're invested in our relationship, and again, that goes for business relationships and anything, we're good. I don't need to hear all the bullshit all the time. And again, now granted, is that important to a certain extent? Yes.
At the door.
But it's not the end all
Be all.
And some women
everything.
tend to think that.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Some.
I feel like we could talk about anything.
Not all.
With our friend. Like, David can hang with us.
David's
with the
welcome anytime.
I'm just saying.
This is my new chair.
I gotta
I'll
tell
be here
you,
next week.
I didn't know what to expect from quote unquote Temptation Island.
See?
I didn't know.
But you had some preset
well, that's what I'm saying. Like
things.
You know, when somebody gets introduced as, you know, hey, this is David. He was on Temptation Island. You're already going, okay, reality TV guy with the car. You know, yes, there's preconceived notions, but this, you know, I'm the mind blown emoji right now. Like that. Like this conversation was that. So I'm glad, pleasantly surprised. Look at that.
No, this is great.
No expectations.
Yeah, that's actually another way to man the fuck up. No expectations.
Yeah.
Leave them at the door, right?
That's it.
Leave them at the door.
And take it for what it is. And then every moment will be...
Win some, you lose some.
There you go.
It is what it is. That's my saying. It is what it is.
But what is it?
Well, see, now you're getting philosophy. I'm not a philosophy
One of the great
major.
conversations and questions of life. Listen, the Man the Fuck Up podcast. Catch us on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube. David, how can people find you?
I think that was a shot. You know she put Spotify first, right? Did you notice that?
So you're
upset.
a serial killer.
No.
You're a serial killer.
I know I'm an equal opportunity, you know, listen to the fucking podcast.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Touche. I'm on Instagram. I am David Benavidez.
Yes.
Don't use Facebook. Don't use Twitter. Instagram only.
And you will not see anything about COVID or the vaccine.
I won't make promises, but
What else was I gonna say? And then check out Temptation Island season 2.
Oh, really?
And take what
It's on demand. You can definitely get it on Amazon Prime. I think I'm watching it on demand right now. So come on now, that's your little.
watch Temptation Island season 2. Sit back, enjoy, have your burger, fries, or whatever you said before, and yeah.
Just enjoy, but
you'll
at least
enjoy
now
it.
they have this whole other side of you. I think I know I'll finish watching with a bit.
They're
of a
they're
different
gonna
perspective.
look at it with a different perspective
they will.
if they watch this first, which is fine. Then they're gonna be looking at it just to see him. They're not gonna care what he's doing. They're not gonna care. They're just gonna be watching it for him.
Facts.
They don't give two shits. Oh, I wish he'd walk over me like a doormat.
Before you get everybody in trouble, again, thank you, David. We appreciate you. I was going to say sliding by, sitting on the couch, all that good stuff. Remember, folks, at the end of the day, just man the fuck up.
Yep, man the fuck up.
Right on. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and you're welcome back anytime.
Anytime.
Peace.